Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about profits, assets, and are you doing the SSN Nation way? We'll talk about that in a second. But Dominican Republic tourism records, are you an investor? Let me hear from you. May 2026, they keep breaking air records and cruise records. I wonder why. Nobody's going to be traveling to the Middle East or nowhere near Ukraine and Russia. Those areas do have a few thousand people, if not millions, that are not going in those zones. So where else would they go? Stay right here in this hemisphere where it's safe. So welcome to the SSN Nation once again live stream. And tonight, stay tuned. You have some investor advice regarding real estate and what we're thinking about over in the Dominican Republic. The stats don't lie. The numbers don't lie. People do. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here once again. Please share the videos because you never know who's out here looking for information to make investments in America, outside of America. And where in the world can you make investments? All over. There's no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry, pre-construction projects all over the world. They want your USA dollar. They want your EU dollar, Australian dollar, Chinese dollars. That's right. The rest of the world is awfully poor when you know the billionaires, only 3,000 of them, control more than 50% of the world's wealth of 8 billion people. That's a problem. And it's going like it's supposed to worldwide, so you better get your assets while you can. So that's why we're going to be talking about Dominican Republic today, because we have a lot of people that have invested over in the DR. I'm going to tourism analytics. I'm not going to the Dominican today, but right now we're going to stay right here where we have the actual numbers. Most people would say this is pretty good. 3,402,884 visitors by air for everybody on podcast. 1,335,581 by cruise ship. So we have a total of 4,738,429 with a 9% increase over last year. In case you don't know, last year, I don't know what the total numbers were, including cruise ships, because if you're an investor, unless you invested in a cruise ship location and you're within, I don't know, 30 minutes or less from the cruise when people have to return, then that might matter to you about the cruise numbers. But the problem with the cruise numbers are cruise ports are usually in a certain location. They're not usually downtown. So people are getting off the boat, staying in a certain area, then getting back on the boat and leaving. And the merchants close up shop. That's not business every day, every hour, but it is business. So if you're going to be around cruise ships, then you might want to get excited if you know the numbers at each cruise port. Then you can choose which cruise port you should think about. But for all of us who are doing real estate inside the Dominican Republic, then we care about the people that are staying overnight, renting rooms, And we're really concerned about hotel rooms being rented. If they are staying at a clip of 86% of all passengers by air staying in hotels, that means the rest of everybody else shares the 14%. 14% is not enough, especially when there's more than 14% the number of hotel units. So let's give you some numbers. Hotel units are around 100,000 to 108,000, depending on who you talk to. So if they're at 86%, and that could mean around what, 95%, somewhere like that, 94,000 out of the 108, something of that nature. Just off the top, it's pretty close to there, give or take a couple thousand in either direction. And then you have 54,000 Airbnbs on the island. You can start seeing where there's going to be a problem, because that means half, more than half, would not be utilized. 50%. So, depending on where you purchase your property is going to matter, and you're going to find out shortly. Let's get into it, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Look at this right here. Stopover visitors by month. This is the record. This is the number. The month of, oh, wait, this is April. This is April. I thought we were upgraded to May. I see we're not. Looks like we are going to have to go to Dominican Republic today. Let's go find out what the numbers are. This is crazy. I just took it for granted that they put it there for the month of May. Or was it for April? Actually, it's for April. I didn't do April, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, I did not. That's why it's looking weird. Let's get back to business at hand. This is for the month of April. We got to change the headlines. It's not for the month of May. I didn't do April's. That's why this looks very nice. 799,203. So we got to change the heading after the live stream. But anyhow, it's April 2026 record. We don't have May's yet. May won't show up until another week or two. So April was 799,203 visitors by air, with the 6.7% increase over last year in 2025. So that is a good number. And when I divide by 2, we'll go up to 800,000. That means 400,000 people, which now means 100,000 people per week. If there's couples only, that's coming to the island. But there's 154,000 hotels plus Airbnbs. That means 50,000 units potentially, whether it's hotels or Airbnbs or short-term rentals. There's no rentals. There's no renters coming. And that's why that overall on the island, it's around 32 to 35% on average. That's not going to cut it, ladies and gentlemen, for overpaying. Now, let's get into some other numbers. USA leading the charge as usual. Notice 35% of everybody that came to the island came from the United States, and another 19.7% came from Canada. That is 55% when you round up. It's 54.7. That is not good. This is anticipated, I have to admit. This is not good, because this is where your buyer's pool generally comes from. And when your buyer pool starts shrinking, normally during this time, it would be around 62 to 67%. So there's a drop off, but it is still higher than last year. But the numbers, percentage wise, is almost the same as last year, which is interesting. So that means some more people came from these other locations down below. And that makes sense, doesn't it? Because they're not flying to the Middle Eastern zone. They're not flying into the upper Russian, Ukraine zone, Polish zone, and all that because of the wars. They're not going to Africa. So they're not going down to Venezuela. Never know when a boat's going to get blown up. So all these things, that's why people are staying in certain regions. And the benefits are these, probably the Caribbean islands, Mexico, places that are in this hemisphere is probably going to benefit from it. Look at here, the hotel performance. That's March. What the heck? Why don't we have April? This is April. I mean, what's going on? Okay, I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the 80 percentile range. 87% was for the month of March. April's not here. Okay, it looks like we're going to have to go do something else because they're not being too forthcoming, are they? Whenever somebody's not being too forthcoming, you start thinking, if you don't want to tell us the numbers, why are what's going on, right? Okay, let me go find someone else to help us out with this, and then we'll get into some investment ideas. I want to hear from you guys. Make sure you smash that like button and let other people know, the YouTube gods, the Facebook gods, the Instagram gods, the Twitch gods, the Rumble gods, every gods, all these guys. Let them know we're in the house. Okay, this was what the Dominican Today was talking about. So we'll go get over here, and they were talking about Canadian citizens surpassing 1.1 million visitors from Canada, and Ontario accounted for more than 544,000. Just those two provinces are nearly a million by themselves, and they did 1.1. So again, they're benefiting because of what's happening in the United States. They're bypassing. They're going no Vegas, no Florida, none of that. We're going to just bypass. We're going to go hang out somewhere else. And by the way, it is cheaper somewhere else. So it makes sense. All these numbers correlate. Collado revealed that 92% of Canadian tourists surveyed said they plan to return to Dominican Republic, while more than half stated they would recommend the country as vacation destination. No shocker there, ladies and gentlemen. No surprise. Just what we anticipate. And then I will end this section of our live stream tonight because there's not much to it because we don't have much information. Tourism Analytics didn't even put in April's numbers for the hotels, which is kind of bizarre. But we still have things to talk about with regard to, you know what, real estate investing in 2026 and 2027 because we're in June. We're halfway there. And welcome EV Place in the house. Thank you so much for being here with that icon next to your name, which I humbly appreciate. And he brings his tagline, good evening, SSN family. I hope you are all doing well and welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. I appreciate it. An investor's here. He invested in a DR. He also is under the program, I'm sure. Credit score, 775 by December 31st. Bank account or real estate outside the United States before December 30th, 2026. And bank account outside the United States because you live in a broke country. If you live in the United States or you have your bank account in the United States, remember they're broke. All right? Just remember that. And go back to history, please. Go check. 2000, the Great Recession, go see what happened with banking. They don't like to tell the stories. Go back to what happened in the 1930s, what happened with banking. They don't like to tell the stories. And because you didn't pay attention and you're working hard, you don't know the stories. You didn't know how people got jacked over of their bank accounts, right? Stolen money because you had to bail out the rich guys because they're the ones that messed up. All right. Thank you so much, EV Place, for being here. I appreciate it. And we're going to get into some real estate since that is an asset in some sort of form, especially when you rent it out, especially when you have several units, like a 2-plex, 3-plex, or 10 or 25 or 50-plex. If you can maneuver and make it work. Obviously, you're going to need money down, or you're going to need some investors to help you out if you don't have the money, if you're trying to expand into these 25 units, 50 units, 100 unit type of apartments. But I like the beginning. FHA makes it very simple. Or EV Place led us on to this, the Castle Rock, REO.com. Fixer-uppers, use your own money. Buy something for 50 grand, 70 grand, 100 grand. Since if you want to do single-family homes, I don't know if they have duplexes, triplexes, but they all need fixing up it seems so far. I'm sure they have other units that they have REOs, real estate investment zone, and so you can probably get great deals. He got great deals himself. So all I can say is, ladies and gentlemen, you got to go check it out. So, real estate, Dominican Republic or anywhere else in the world, no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry. So therefore, you had an opportunity to buy during pre-construction. I do not advise doing that any longer. There's a reason I don't advise it in Dominican Republic is because the deals aren't deals. If I have to pay $130,000 for a one-bedroom unit, and I can go to Airbnb right now and see that getting $130 per night is not an easy task. And the rule is 1%. 0.1% is the rule. Just remember that, right? I didn't meant to take this off. Just remember that rule. So if you buy something for 130, you better be able to rent it for 130. 130K, you better be able to do it for 130. You know why? Because generally you're going to have a property manager. So 25% is gone, right? Or worse, there's some that say 30. You could be held hostage. Oh, what's this? That's weird. You could be held hostage. And you don't want to be held hostage, right? Because if they up the rates to 30, that's a hefty fee to pay. And out of 130, you're going to be at 89, 90. And you know what's worse? Some people have purchased condo hotels in the Dominican Republic. And they're getting killed badly simply because if you're trying to get 0.1%, that means that they would have to charge double because you're only going to get 50 to 45% return on a condo hotel deal. Best case scenario. That's the best case scenario. And you can't use it as primary residence because you are renting it out under a condo hotel. So if somebody tries to buy your unit and you don't actually own it, it's considered commercial property here in America. That's why people have a difficult time trying to sell them because they need more than the value of the property. So there's a dichotomy there that hurts people badly. So I have videos. Just go put in condo hotels on the channel and you will see I have a series where I say don't do it. All right, that's just giving you the blind. Now, no credit check, no qualifying, no barriers to entry. You want to take forth, then you need to study. You have to go to Airbnb, short-term rentals, VRBO. You just study and see what the rental market is now. Some of these places are going to be delivered this year and next year. People are finding out right now that after it got delivered and after they paid like 2 years ago, people were paying in Los Corrales, El Cordacito, $170,000 to $200,000 for a 2-bedroom. I guarantee you we can go to Airbnb right now and find 2-bedroom units in Los Corrales, El Cordacito, and there will not be $200 per night. You know what? There's always somebody watching that says, show me. Okay, don't worry. We'll go there. I'll show you. Let's see. Do you want to take that bet? Anybody want to take the bet? Let's go. Let's go see. All right. I haven't even looked in. In fact, there's no need for me to look because I already know the numbers don't jive with what's going to happen. So the thing is, we're going to go look at Los Corrales, El Cordacito. Why? Because they used to be a studio was 71% 2 years ago. That was the occupancy rate. And 68% was occupancy rate for 1-bedrooms. That's high. Now they're both in the 60s, like 64 and 61. There's a reason, and that also is going to be the reason why we should not be seeing $1,400 for the week for a studio or 1-bedroom. Sure, somebody that's on the water or close might be trying to do that, but there's going to be so many units available that it's going to be awfully hard for them to have any type of 70, 65, 70, 75, 80% occupancy. And if you want to know what occupancy rates are, then you can go to airroi.com. All right? That's where you can go. So what I'm going to do is I'll put in, you know what? July 4th is a, well, kind of a holiday. Not for there, but for U.S. citizens. They could go over there July 3rd through the 10th. I'm going to put that in, and then we'll check it out. I'm going to do some things in the. Oh, this is disturbing. This is very disturbing. In fact, let me just put this up right now. This is disturbing. Too disturbing, if you ask me. What you see on the screen are these are for the week, ladies and gentlemen. The week. Not for, look, I'll show you what I mean. This is look, for 7 nights, $349. Do you see this? $387. So you're going to say, okay, Eric, no worry. Yeah, you're going to have to worry because unless you bought this stuff for 50 G's, I mean, yeah, 50 G's, 7 nights is 350, ladies and gentlemen. For all the people, this is in Pueblo, Bávaro, right? 550. Let's see what this is. This is for a week, July 3rd to the 10th. Now, don't get me wrong. I have my point of views about that time of year. Look at this. This is a two-bedroom. Two-bedroom, two baths, $430 for a week. This is in Pueblo, Bávaro. Okay, some people would go, well, Eric, that's not how much it's going to be where my place is. This is downtown. So somebody's trying to get over. Oh, here we go. This is a two-bedroom, two-bath at the beach, $865. Okay, the beach, originally you could buy a two-bedroom for $126,000. So this is this is pretty close. 7 times 126, 7 times 120 is what is that, 840 or something? So they're pretty close. Luckily they bought then because the two bedrooms escalated to 185, 195, 210. They escalated. So everybody who bought 6 years ago, you have a chance. Everybody who bought 2 years ago, oh, that's going to be a problem because 865 at 190, 180, that's not going to be good because you should be charging 180 per night, which makes you have a $1,200 to $1,300 range. Even if you rent this out, that's nice. At least you have some money coming in. But your HOAs is $3 per square meter, and they're counting the balcony on these things. I know it's messed up, but that's what they're doing. They're counting balcony space. So if you have this unit, you're paying $270 to $300 per month. And not only that, the balcony calculation, I don't even know what it is, but the balcony was around 20, maybe not even 20, I don't think. It was around like 15 square meters, something like that. So I think they charge like $1 less, so 30. Yeah, so you're going to be paying pretty much like 350, somewhere like that, 330, just in HOA fees. Electricity costs an arm and a leg, which is another thing. Sure, it won't be on when people are gone, but you deteriorate your furniture if you don't have the AC on and it gets in there 100 degrees with the high humidity. It's very bad. So these are the things that people don't think about, and their electricity is the most expensive on the planet. Just so you guys understand. It's no joke. And they use splits usually. This place uses, I can't remember if they're splits or if it was central. Well, if it's central, then you're really going to be screwed. But you can't leave your place at 100-degree humidity in a box that's blocked off with concrete. That's going to deteriorate your insulations around your couches and sofas, and yeah, it's going to break down fibers. It's going to do kind of crazy stuff. So again, this is $865 is a good price if you bought 5-6 years price ago when things were cheap. But if you had to buy in the last 2 to 3 and you got one of these units, then you're doing this for less. And that's not going to be good. So you can see where this goes. Okay, let's go out of this. Let's go over to go check out what I was referring to. So some people would say this Pueblo Bavaro area is coming up. You should probably get a place there because you can still get a 2 bedroom for 80, 90 grand, which again, even if you did, you can see the pricing in this area. This time of year is not good. So now are we going to get this pricing for April, May, June, July? Because this would be terrible. This would not be good. Look at this. Look at this. This is interesting. 227. That's crazy. And pretty close to the water. Wow. Let's go see what this is. Okay, 227. Oh, this is Conde. This is in Los Corrales, almost across from La Bruja. We know where that is. Yeah, that's a nice place. Stay there sometimes. The only problem is they started charging for electricity up front. And I was like, okay, that's not cool. Let's see. I see the beach, but I just don't. I see them saying, I just don't see the roads. Where's the roads at? You're seeing in the real time. Look at this, 597. Predictable 2 bedroom at Tequesa. This is on this project is on the beach. You walk out through the pool, walk out here to the beach. See, in fact, I can believe this is the beach right here. Beach view and 597. And this is a 2 bedroom. You see where we're going? Let's go. 798 is even closer. This is also in Tequesa. But you're getting closer to the water, so people are charging more. Tropical Paradise, 2 bedroom, 2 baths. Yep, that's it again. 527. Looks like a nice place. Don't know where it is. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. Oh my. So you can understand right now when those people, let's say they bought this 2 years ago and it was 170. 7 nights at 170 is what they should be charging. Getting 527 is outrageous. Not even getting $950 for the week. You're getting almost half of what you should have been getting. But this is what we predicted. I don't know if you guys have been here or not, but I told you guys about a year and a half ago, I would rather wait till later because all these people are going to say, you know what, let me get rid of this because it's not worth it. Because if you have a property manager, they get 25%. Just remember, 20%, 25%. What if this person had a property manager handling their account? They would have another $100 gone. I mean, this is not going to be worth it if you paid the 2024 pricing, 170 grand to 200 grand, and you're getting $400 if you have a property manager. That's not a good thing. And there's other expenses too. So I'm just going off the top so you guys can see that this is crystal clear. So again, here's what we're going to do. You should be thinking about either A, just waiting if you want to go get something. Obviously, it's not going to be pre-construction, but people will be dumping them. And the best way to find them is the ones, if you're there and you actually walk around. Like, look, there's another $399. Pool views, it's Coral Village. Right behind La Bruja. Disregard this. The beach is up the street. The Coral Village is not near the beach. It takes you probably 4 minutes to walk. Jumbo Market's nowhere near. So, yeah, this is the market called, what's this? I want to say Gerrymandy, but that's not it. Cicero, Gizzarello, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, here it is. You walk this far. It's literally 5 minutes or less. It's 4 minutes, 3 minutes to get to the beach. Straight down. and then you're at the beach. You can go through the hotel, or you can go around the side gate that the beach has. Anyhow, I was not wrong. We already knew what was going to happen a year and a half, 2 years ago. This was all figured according to real estate investors. You have to understand what's going to happen. The main contributors to their ecosystem is USA and Canada. If we are living paycheck to paycheck, 80% of us in America, the OCs, then that means you can't go travel. It's that simple. And so more and more people are saving their money because they don't know how high these prices are going to go. Same thing with Canada. They're actually at 85 out of 100 people are living paycheck to paycheck there. It's a good thing both countries have credit, because it would be over. You'd live in a third world country if there was no credit. All right? So I'm just saying, you better figure out what you're going to do out here, because you're going to have to figure out plans. You're going to have to start thinking outside of your box, outside of your skill set, in order to make financial moves if you're not already set, because the baby boomers, it's over. It's over. Their generation is the last generation that was able to have pensions, able to have retirement plans, their 401ks. They could work at a job for 20 to 30 years or longer. Stock options was normal kind of things. All these things they were able to benefit from. And now, the people working now don't even know if you're going to work somewhere for the next 5 years, the next 2 years. You don't know. Anything can happen, especially since there's AI. We don't need research anymore. You can just Google. You don't need people that used to have to get together as a group and say, hey, meet over here. And what do they call these newfangled things where they'd have a cluster of people? And we used to call it brainstorming, but they call it something else now to act like they're doing something special, chit-chatting, saying, hey, this is what we can do. Yeah, them guys getting paid six figures and all that, that's gonna go bye-bye. So again, the shrinking of well-paying jobs, livable wage jobs, are going to continue to go down. And that means there's a large group of people that are going to have to take on two jobs. And unfortunately, the older you are, the more vulnerable you're going to be. And so therefore, you have to start thinking about, what are you going to do with every last drop of money that you're going to have if you're already living paycheck to paycheck? And now what happens if you don't have a job? What's going to end up happening? It's very clear what's going to happen. So you better start thinking about some assets. And again, we're making something that's going to have assets, but unfortunately, that's not going to be able to help you, because I'm going to move into what they call the big boys, the wealth guys, the guys that have the IPs, the trademarks, and all these things, patents and things that they hold that they can license and lease and sublease and sublicense, and they can make money while they're sleeping, because the technologies that they have, they can loan out to somebody else and get a fee returned. So that, number one, is what you may want to start thinking about: collecting assets if you can. If you can write, congratulations. If you wrote reports and you have them stacked somewhere, you should make out some short books and put them on Amazon or something, Kindle, whatever. You need to start using your own skill sets instead of giving it away to the big boys. Just like right now, we're on YouTube, we're on social media platforms, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. All these guys, they're making money. They're giving me nothing. Let's call it what it is. And I'm giving them the IP for this. I'm giving them information. The amount of people in a certain range that even watches this channel, so they can put an advertisement on this channel, and they give me nothing. Or shall I say, if I got something, it would be 60%, I think, or 70. I don't even know, but it's one of those two. Meanwhile, they get to surgically target you and everybody else, because they can see what you're watching. They can see other things, where you're from. They're doing all kind of things, and they can actually pinpoint. That's why you get served certain ads on all the platforms. That's why you can talk about something, scroll for something. They're watching. So therefore, they have the information. They know when you come on, all of a sudden you're going to get served the ads that you were just checking things out. This is how it works. But see, that's an IP scenario. When I signed up for this on YouTube or all the platforms, it says, you understand, we're going to track or we're going to do something, terms of service, and you checked yes because you're going to be on the platform, right? Otherwise, you're not going to be on the platform if you check no. And then you find out you're going to get paid, and then you're like, well, what's my pay? And then they say some crazy, 60% of, we keep 60, you get 40. We keep 70, you get 30. We keep 80, you keep 20. That's what they do. That's where they make their money from. And that's why they can be holier than thou without having to work. They're not in the having to slave away for 50, 60 hours, 70 hours a week. They're making money off of a service. That's much different than having to wake up at 7 a.m. in the morning and get to work at 8 and you're doing some back-breaking, strenuous stuff, or you're doing service type industry and people are yelling and screaming at you and saying, hey, your business is this and that, or hey, you get pats on the back too. But generally, the crowd is louder when there's a problem. When everything's going fine, the crowd is quiet. But when everything goes bad, the crowd is loud. So you have to think about these type of things. And when you interact with the public, this is how it works. You never know who's going to be in a bad mood when they come up and see you, right? So you have to live with this environment. When you go to work, everything is the stranglehold on the populations around the world. It's just not in America, it's around the world. So once again, you have to make investments in yourself, and you're going to have to make investments where you keep the money. So speaking of investments where you keep the money, how can I forget? Tomorrow is Bankers Day, where they have Zoom calls. But first, some of you need this. I'm going to put this in the chat room all over the internet. It's going right now. It's in the chat rooms, wherever you're watching. Okay? Wherever you're watching from, chat rooms. All right. Oh, don't tell me I didn't. Uh-oh, that's bad. I put the whole... that's funny. That's funny. Did it even take? It did take. Wow. That's the whole back office for today. Not back office, but the description box. That's the whole back office on the description box. That's funny. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Didn't mean to blow up the chat, but some of them will cut it off. It should, anyhow. I don't know how it could take all of that. But let's get with the grants. This can help you out. We'll get into the bankers thing, but the grants, findhelp.org, that can help you out, free up some money. There's several nonprofits where they receive federal funding and state funding, and you call them up. Some of them charge a little bit, some of them don't. So you should want to think about that. And no matter, again, where you're watching from, smash that like button, because you never know what the YouTube gods, the Rumble gods, any of the gods are doing out here. But I'm trying to help you. So there's the Find Help on several different platforms. You guys have it now. You've heard me talk about this for the last year, year and a half, 2 years. So hopefully you guys have, if you need help, you're not going to be a person that says, nah, I don't, even if you're hurting, you're not going to ask. In some cases, you have to ask. Okay? That's where this is going. Don't worry, you're going to have a few million people following. But most people in America don't even know that this exists. And they get mad when foreigners come to the country and an immigration attorney hands them a piece of paper. The piece of paper is similar to this. It's where you can get help in America, the richest country in the world. So people get upset. But this is the whole point. America doesn't even help its own citizens. They don't have a PSA that says, hey, go to findhelp.org if you need help. Because the government gives them money, nonprofits that is, to help you. I've never heard that, ever. But now I find out from Matthew Lesko that this exists when he came on live over 2 years ago. So that's what's happening here in America. They're like, I don't understand. You would think that America would be saying, hey, here's a PSA. If you need some help, come on down. Call these people. Go to findhelp.org. If you have mental health and mental issues, dial 211 or go to 211.org. Right? You would think they would do this, but they don't. I've never heard that. Have you? Let me know if you guys ever heard of any advertisement saying if you need help with job training or medical or groceries or down payment on your rent or down payment to buy a home. Let me know if you guys heard of any of this before. I never did. And I've been out here trying to help people for the last 50 years. Come on, let's get real. Stop playing out here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm not going to be on here too long because I'm still in the lab. We got an app coming out. We got some business to tend to. And it's a long, strenuous, arduous journey. And unfortunately, that journey means I got to stay in the lab. And the lab means I can't be doing these live streams, and I can't really be doing any videos, which I have not made an actual video, which I have to do one about the April thing, which I missed April. That's weird. And so therefore, I have to start doing some shorts, short form, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever, some videos. And I'm going to be in the lab for 2 more days, maybe 3, because I'm about to finish a major milestone, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know what it's like when you build an empire? The problem with empires are it takes a while to build. Trying to think that you're going to do something in a month or 2 when you have like 7, 8, 9 companies on the block starting off, and you have to make sure you secure it in the right places, the right order, and make sure all at the tree of life is working fine. That's what takes, and the names is the problem, because we live in a social media world. If this was 30 years ago, names aren't that hard because people can't go to social media and Google. So you actually have to go look it up, and then people actually have to file and pay money. It's paper. Now that you can just go and do stuff, get on your social media platforms and get your handles just like this in less than 1 minute. And so therefore people have all kind of different names and variations of names because you have billions of people on the platforms. And now people have to start thinking up names out of the box. But those names out of a box could be a business name. So it's blocked. So again, it's an arduous situation when you have to figure out 9 companies. Now, that'll be another talk for another day, but it's called asset protection for your corporations, your companies, your LLCs. Whether it's a corporation Inc. or an LLC, you need protection. If you missed the videos about trademarks, missed the video about the holding companies, this is exactly the structure. Let me just put it another way, because I know you guys don't know anything about me. I'll just give you some names. Go look and see how Disney, Amazon, Netflix, it doesn't matter. Just go look at the big companies you know, Tesla, all the big companies you know, find out who their subsidiaries are. They have a similar structure. Not all, but they pretty much, if they have intellectual properties, if they have IPs, which is what intellectual properties are, if they have any other assets, then they're going to protect those assets, and that means you have to have a certain structure. That generally means you should have a holding company or 2, 1 or 2, and you should therefore have the holding companies which are not operational. You should have your assets in those because they don't face the public, so therefore you won't be involved in lawsuits. And so from that standpoint, you have to license or lease or whatever you got to do down to your subsidiaries. So the operational companies who face the public and could get sued, they don't hold any assets. So therefore you don't lose your assets. You can always close down your business, but if you lose your assets, that means that's not good. You lose a business that comes in for damn near free. Because if you can get 3, 4, 5% or more on every transaction, and you got millions of transactions, a few million a month, that starts adding up, ladies and gentlemen. You see, so it's much more important to make sure you control the asset classes. You can determine if you want to let somebody else use it, but they're going to pay you for it. They're the ones that's going to take the risk, right? But in this case, since we're doing a whole subsidiary thing and we're doing it all in one company, we don't want any loose change. Even though we still have to lease from each other, license from each other. But that is the appropriate thing if you want asset protection. And you got to be in Wyoming, Delaware, New Mexico. Let's just call it the top 3. That's what I would recommend. Go check it out with your attorney or whoever you want to. You can Google these days as well. But those are the things that you need to pay attention to right now, because this is what the rich guys are out here scarfing up every asset they can. If it's water, they're getting the aquifer. If it's oil, they're taking the oil. If it's a EV, they're doing the batteries. If it's whatever they're trying to do, they are making sure that everything you use on every day, they are scarfing up the intellectual property rights to it. So keep that in mind. They have the money, they have the lawyers, they have everything. So just keep all that in mind while you're out here watching my videos, because remember, we're down with the OCs. And I'm going to leave out of here now because I love you guys very much. I appreciate your support over all these long years. But we're still doing the damn thing. And we're coming out with a vengeance, with something that's so awesome. It gets better and better every day. I wish I could show you some stuff right now, but I can't. But I will in about a month. Actually, it may be in a few weeks, because I will have some things under trademark control. So then that way, it won't matter. At that point, we can start talking. So we'll have everything in order this week with regards to our corporations formed and all that. And just letting you guys know. And you guys are going to be able to have a little fun along the way. And this is going to be one hell of a ride. We're going to be fighting the big boys. That's right. I'm loving every minute of it on several different ways. And we have great ideas because we're nimble, we're quick, we're elite, we're the best in class. And that's what we're bringing. Just think about it. Unfortunately, I don't know how many I can bring along for the ride, because this looks like it's a software manufacturing thing. Might not even need that many helpers. It's kind of automated. I mean, I just have to admit, I don't see any reason. There's not much to do here. Things are going to be automated. Payouts are going to be automated. Payments are going to be, I mean, this is getting crazy. This is just what's going to happen. The company that we're forming doesn't need to actually have people at the helm. It doesn't seem like, maybe a handful of people. And we're talking about 9 companies. Because everything is literally just calling up some people, a few people, to work and go do something for an event, or go do something for other things, the show. But the show's not every day, but it is kind of, because you always have things to do every day. But it'll just be like 3-4 people. It's not like we need 50 people. The accounting's automated. The across the board. This is 2026, ladies and gentlemen, and we're treating it as such. There's so many things out here that people don't even know about, that's literally free, that they could be using like a sandbox, which a lot of people, again, remember when you didn't want to do computers? You should have. Because that word that I just told you, 90% of you don't even know what I'm talking about. You're thinking I'm talking about that thing that you were at the playground with, right? That's the problem. Because those are the guys, the geeks are the ones ruling the world. Remember that. Geeks are unsociable type. So when you see these rich guys acting unsociable and acting weird, there's a reason. They weren't growing up in the normal neighborhoods, the trust fund kids, and they generally had money, so they don't think the same way as ordinary citizens. All right? Living as a minority in America, I think, as an ordinary citizen. Because growing up in, I didn't grow up in poverty or nothing. I was lucky. My parents were in the military. We moved all over the world. It was great. So I have nothing to complain about. The best thing ever that happened was we lived outside of America. So I got to find out what it was like. America's not the same as everywhere else, even though they have the brand. You know, come you huddled masses, fools, come on over here, we'll help you out. Until we don't. There's other countries out there, just saying, that has a different cultural vibe and everything. They treat people with dignity, respect. So it's much, much different. So when you come back to a country and you thought this was the best country, and then you leave and people are up the street, come on down, we're all eating together, the whole block. That's the norm. Nobody got beef, and that country is cool, and don't trip about stuff. And then you come back, as soon as you land, it's like, holy smokes, where do I live? What the heck's going on? I could have been over here chilling. In this nice zone where you go down to the beach, and they're doing a cookout on demand. Just like, oh yeah, hey, we got like 5 people here. Hey, let's go to the store, get the coolers. Let's come back down. We're going to have a little barbecue fiesta. It's like, what? Wait, huh? Seriously? Yeah. And then that's 4 or 5 in a day. Could be 3, 4, 5. Then after that, getting a call like at 7:30. Hey, Familia, come on down. What do you mean? Oh no, man, we got like the whole block in our backyard. Come on down, man. We got another. We're eating some more. We had some cerveza. Come on down. I'm like, what the? Is this how we doing it? Everybody, and the whole block is 3 miles over. Is what they're talking about. They're not talking about this in their same block. They're talking about some other block that people are all friends. The whole freaking neighborhood, literally, is coming through. Talk about vibes. That was the coolest thing ever. No problema. And then the other thing was, you don't talk smack about us. That's the other thing that was so cool. Don't be trying to, no, we ain't doing none of this. We don't do that. That was cool. I'm not going to say where it was because I don't want you guys infiltrating. Bringing that United States nonsense. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Tamara Larry, another investor's in the house. She's here. And welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday night live stream. Yeah, you came in on the end of this. I'm only doing 51 minutes. This is going straight to podcast. So find it on iHeart and everything else, everybody. That's right. We're on there too. Don't worry. We're worldwide in reality. You guys just don't know. But other people do. So I'm going to say, she brings her tagline, hello all. Very happy to see you once again. Tell them young men, hopefully they're still doing their superstar status. It's 2026 and they got to stay on top of it. So tell them I said hello. And with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, I got to bounce. I got to get back into the lab. I just completed a major milestone for me. Talk about 2-3 weeks to find names for 9 companies that isn't restricted. That's not a trademark problem. That's not an LLC problem. That is serious. 9. And every name under, you're going to tread on somebody else's area. And you don't want to do that because you don't want cease and desist letters. You don't want some lawsuits. You don't want none of that. Especially when you're a startup. And especially when you become a big giant, they come shooting for you. So you got to make sure you have everything dotted, crossed, and good. So we're going to do that. And you guys can come along for the ride. It's going to be a different ride, though. It's not going to be the usual ride, but it's going to be a different ride. But I promise you one thing. There's going to be the ride that I've always done. You guys know what we're going to do. I'm just going to tell you right now. It won't be this year, but starting in 2027. Or no. Well, actually, it might be 2 years because we're not breaking out anything until later this year. 2027 is going to be the start of the big explosion. So that means you might have opportunities, quite frankly. You might have opportunities in like 7-8 months. Just give you some hints. Let's see. The CES show. Yeah, some people don't like it. Some people do. That's nothing. That's maybe for the geeks. Grammy Awards. The Choice Awards. Oscar Awards. Anybody like to hang out with the superstars? Okay. Yeah, you might be able to. Okay. Don't be like it was before when I used to tell you guys, come on down, show up. I got tickets for you in the VIP, all access. Don't say I didn't tell you. I'm not mad if you don't come. Don't worry, But if you don't come, that's on you. All right? Just saying. Just saying. Because some of these places you're not even supposed to be in. Well, I shouldn't say not supposed to be. You are supposed to be when you're with me. So don't worry about that, all right? We'll get you where you need to be. You'll be there hanging with us. It's going to be fun. That's what life is. But, of course, I can't pay your way there. You're going to have to get there yourself. And your hotel, unless I have a special deal or something. Then I'll share. Which could happen, because I'm going to be in business with these guys now. Not just hanging. We'll be business, friends, enemies, whatever, competitors. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap it up. 55 minutes in. I want to thank everybody for being here watching. Make sure you smash the like button no matter where you're watching from. Lavelsky, I see you. Hello, I emailed you. Got no response. Lavelsky, my email. support@stopstrugglingnow.com. Oh, I'm sorry, Lavelsky. You are absolutely correct. I have not checked my email for 7 to 10 days. You are absolutely correct. This is the first time ever I just never check my email. So now that you mentioned it, I will go check it out. So thank you for letting me know. So I'll go back in before I start back into the lab tonight. because I got to tie some potential loose ends up. Like I said, you got to make sure everything flows right. Got to make sure everything's hooked up right. You got to make sure everything's going to be right. Triple check, X check, 5X check, 10X check. I've done about 10X right now, 11X. And so far it keeps coming back up. Testing, 1, 2, 3, A-OK. So I got to check again. So it keeps going, testing, because the foundation is the most important thing. Just like a building. If your foundation on one side is not built right, then that means you're going to have a problem across everything. So we got to make sure all of the foundation is built right, because I'm making an empire. And I've got help. An SSN Nation members here helping. And I got to say, it's going so fast. Black Haitian engineer, another investor's in the house. Welcome for being in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Unfortunately, this is going to be the end of the show. So I got to just let you guys know, we talked about Dominican Republic tourism numbers. All-time record highs for the month of April. We haven't gotten May yet. So I went over the April numbers, which were, again, 6% higher for the air passengers year over year, which is still good. It's still good, but they were supposed to be at 10.5 to 11 million passengers by air this past year. So that's a problem, because this year it's supposed to be 11.5 and they're only going to reach I predicted 9.3, 9.4. They're on track to be 9.6, 9.7, but they're going to be 2 million behind schedule to offset the 10 to 15,000 units that's going to be put on the market this year and next. And between this year and next year, there's going to probably be 20,000 condos that's going to be released. Not everybody's going to be short-term rental. Out of that, I would be willing to bet you 50% were. So you're going to have another 10 to somewhere between 8 to 12,000 units added, and you're not getting more tourists that's going to take care of that. You need something of an explosion. You need like a 20 to 25% increase in order to get to 11.5 to 5 mil by the end of the year. We'll probably get to 9.7, which is that's a far cry, because that means you're going to get hotels at 80%, but you're going to have short-term rentals at 30 something. That is not a winning formula under any circumstance. And if you have a bad economy collapse, do your inspection. Man, bro, you have to watch your contract. Yep, Black Haitians telling the truth. These no credit check, no qualifying corporations, they changed their contracts. You have a contract. But one of the reasons why we had to stop messing with the DR is, and I don't say messing, I'm just saying promoting, talking about it. And good thing that there's going to be a downturn anyhow. So, but the point is, they started messing around, talking about, hey, we're going to take it due to inflation. If it's over 3%, then you got to pay 3% more. Well, if you owe $100,000, that's $3,000 that they're going to add into your payment at the end, or make it add into your monthly payment. And now 2 years in, you could have 3% one year and 2% another. You owe $60,000, and some take it off your whole total, which is another thing. And then some have contracts that said, oh, if we don't deliver on time, we'll give you 0.05 or whatever as a back. Now they want to turn it into a credit. They don't want to take it off of the total amount. This is what they do, or they just ignore it altogether. Some people say, well, forget about it. And they, we can't honor that due to whatever. Sue us. Well, if you sue somebody, unfortunately, yes, you can, but 2 years, 3 years later, and lawyer fees, now what are you going to do? And it's still not resolved 2 years later. Just like in the United States, 2 years later, it's not resolved. Does you no good. Because now you have a time situation where they say, hey, your unit's ready, we delivered, why aren't you taking it? Because your contract, you lied to me. I'm supposed to have 20,000 off, or I'm supposed to have it for this price, and now it's cost me 20, 30 grand more. I have a problem. So that's why we have the issues. Do your inspection. Exactly. You better do an inspection, ladies and gentlemen, especially on pre-built. And you should be doing an inspection even on your pre-construction. Anytime you buy any real estate, you have to do inspections. That's the bottom line. Go look, go see, go talk. But again, salesmen are salesmen. You have to think with your own mind. So just keep all that in mind. All right? So I'm going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen. We got to get out of here. Anybody else have anything else to say? But the black patient gave us some info. Do inspection. Check your contracts. Make sure you might have a lawyer too. But again, in some instances, a lawyer doesn't do any good because all he does is collect money. And then he's still going to go talk to whoever the perpetrators are. And then they tell him the same thing they told you. Yeah, sue us. Then he comes back and it's like, oh, we got to go to court and I need like 5-10 G's. And that's a hard pill to swallow, isn't it? For being done wrong. Hard pill. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go. I'll see you on Friday night, the Financial Friday Night live stream. Make sure you don't miss it because you never know what we're going to be talking about. But you know it's going to have to do with trying to help you, OCs. That's what we do here. And oh, by the way, the StopStrugglingNow.com website may be up. I'm going to leave on where you're going to pay for stuff. I think this is so cool when they said, go check out the Stop Struggling Now YouTube channel and just base it on there and just build a website. I want to see what you do. The Arrow, AIROAI, built the website. And I just told it, I said, hey, why don't you put in some free articles for, passive income, financial news, real estate, things like this. It said, oh, I put in 3 or 4 under your heading. I was like, oh my God, I didn't even write anything. They wrote it all for me from some, by the way, I told them from CNBC, Wall Street Journal, and that's where they sourced it from, and I guess they put them in. I did not load it yet, so I don't know if they actually did it, but they put together a 12-week course for me. Thank you. They put together a mastermind. I was like laughing. I'm like, geez, you guys think I should be getting paid all this money? I love it. Let's do it. Here, load up my PayPal then. Cool. Let's see what happens. We'll see. All right. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a little fun in 2026, I see. And we're going to have a big explosion at the end of 2026 or sooner. So I was just talking with the developer, the chief technology officer. Yeah, that reminds me of like Star Trek and stuff like that, right? The Death Star. That's what the project's called, Death Star, ladies and gentlemen. Wonder who's going to find death. It's not going to be us is the plan. All right, let's go. I'll see you guys on Friday night. Thank you guys so much for being in the house. And with all that said, I'll say it twice. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here, but you got to stay the course. You got to figure out how to reduce your expenses. And you got to figure out where you can put some of those weapons, which is called cash, which is called money, into something that can give you a return, even if it's yourself. There's social media everywhere, so don't cut yourself short. A lot of people do. You could be on social media right now getting way more views than me. Thousands. I don't get thousands of views. I don't get hundreds even. For 7 years, never. I mean, there's a few videos that do, but it's rare. So this is the thing. Which means you don't get paid, right? You don't get paid money. So just keep in mind, you're not me, you are you. You could simply just go put up a video and you could have thousands of views based on what you love. You can turn that into a monetary situation. And there's going to be a platform for you down the road. Hint, hint, just saying. Pay attention. Read through the tea leaves. So, be ready. Get honed up. And we're going to make it happen. And with all that said, no matter what anybody does out here, stay safe. Watch your back. Watch everything. Because people are going to lose their mind, and they already have. But above all, keep your head up. Keep moving.